Okay, we've all seen them in the movies, right? Cars that just float. No wheels, no noisy engines, just silently cruising along, defying gravity itself. But where are they in real life? That's what we're going to dig into today. We're going to pull apart this sci-fi dream and figure out where the impossible physics ends and where the very real and, frankly, very weird engineering begins.
Science fiction has been obsessed with this for a long time. And this quote just nails the dream perfectly. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Just bend space the other way, easy. So the big question is, if the idea is that straightforward, why aren't we all hovering to work? Well, the answer takes us right into the fabric of the universe itself.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the hardcore physics, the stuff that says no. Then we'll look at the two very different, but very real, ways engineers are trying to make it happen anyway. One using magnets, the other using the air. And finally, we'll peek at the future these ideas are building for us. All right, first things first. Before we can get to the future, we have to get real about the present. And right now, the term anti-gravity, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's not really a thing. See, Einstein completely changed the game. He showed us that gravity isn't some invisible force pulling you down, it's actually the shape of the universe. Think of it like a bowling ball on a trampoline. The heavy ball creates a dip, and marbles rolling nearby will curve towards it. That's gravity. Mass literally bends space-time, and we're all just following the curves.
And this is where sci-fi and reality really split ways. In a movie, you flip a switch on a gravity shield. But in our universe, to get rid of that downward curve, you'd need something that creates an upward curve. And to do that, you'd need stuff with negative mass or negative energy, a theoretical substance that we have never, ever observed.
For the longest time, this was the great hope. I mean, antimatter is real. We make it in labs. And since it's the opposite of matter in so many ways, maybe, just maybe, it would be opposite in how it reacts to gravity. What if it fell up?
And you know, this single question drove research for nearly 100 years. But then, in 2023, the Alpha experiment at CERN finally gave us the answer. They trapped a few precious atoms of antihydrogen and watched what they did. The result? They fell. Down. Just like regular matter. So, that's another door slammed shut. Antimatter, it's not going to give us our flying car.
And, you know, we've been down this road before. People have been claiming they've invented anti-gravity for ages. Thomas Townsend Brown's gravitators are a famous example. They seem to create lift with high voltage, but when NASA and others took a closer look, they found out it wasn't manipulating gravity at all. It was using electricity to push air down, an effect called ionic wind. The moment you put it in a vacuum, the effect totally disappears. So, this is the big takeaway from all the hard physics. We can't build a shield. We can't bend space-time the other way. We can't use antimatter. To make a car hover, we have to stop thinking about anti-gravity and start thinking about counter-gravity. We just need to generate an upward push that's stronger than the downward pull. Okay, so if we need a force to push up, what's a ridiculously powerful force we actually can control? Well, electromagnetism. And that brings us to our first real-world solution. Now, this is where science starts to feel like actual magic. It's called quantum locking. Here's how it works. You take a special kind of superconductor and cool it way down. When you do, magnetic fields can pass through it, but only in these tiny individual threads. And these threads get snagged on tiny imperfections inside the material, pinning it in place. It becomes locked in space, so stable you can literally flip it upside down and it just stays there. So why don't we have this everywhere? Well, here's the catch that's kept it locked in labs for decades. You have to get it incredibly cold. We're talking about bathing the whole thing in expensive, boiling liquid nitrogen. Not exactly practical for your morning commute. But this could be the absolute game changer. New theories, like something called entropy theory, are giving scientists a totally new way to hunt for materials that can superconduct without the extreme cold. It's like we found a new map to the holy grail of physics, a room temperature superconductor. And if we find that, everything changes. And I mean a massive change. This wouldn't be a car you could just drive anywhere. It would require a whole new kind of infrastructure. Imagine asphalt roads getting replaced by magnetic tracks, letting our cars just glide along without friction. Companies like Skytran are already working on this idea. It's a future of silent, efficient, guided travel. But what if you don't want to rebuild every single road on the planet? Well, that brings us to path number 2. And this one is much closer than you might think.
If you can't levitate on a track, you can always just fly.
The key piece of tech making this possible is called Distributed Electric Propulsion, or DEP. Basically, instead of one huge, complicated engine like a helicopter has, these new vehicles use a whole bunch of small, simple electric motors and propellers. And the biggest advantage here? It's safety. If one motor fails, no big deal. The others can easily pick up the slack and land you safely.
And there's not just one way to do this. You've got this whole spectrum of amazing approaches. On one end, you have vehicles like the Joby S4, which is basically an electric air taxi. In the middle, you've got the absolutely wild Aleph Model A, which tries to be both a car and a plane. And on the far end of the spectrum is the MIT Ionic plane, using that same silent ionic wind to fly with no moving parts at all.
Let's zoom in on the Aleph Model A for a second, because it's the one that really feels like a true flying car. See, on the ground, it's designed to act just like a car. It drives on its wheels, it's about the size of an SUV, and you could use it for your regular neighborhood trips. It looks like it drove right out of a movie, but it operates in a way we all understand.
But then, it does something absolutely insane. It lifts off straight up, and as it moves forward, the entire car body rotates 90 degrees around the cockpit. The mesh sides of the car literally become wings, turning it into a biplane for flying. It is one of the most mechanically ambitious and just plain bonkers designs I've ever seen. And this isn't just a fantasy anymore. The biggest hurdle has always been the rules. But in 2024, the FAA officially created a brand new aircraft category just for these powered lift vehicles. This is the legal green light that allows companies to start planning for commercial flights from city rooftops and landing pads. The regulations are finally catching up with the technology.
So as we start to wrap this up, what we're left with are two completely distinct visions for how we might get around in the future. Not just one, but two potential ways to finally get that hovering car we've all been dreaming of.
And that's the big question we're left with, isn't it? Are we going to choose the path of silent, super-efficient levitation that requires us to totally rebuild our cities with magnetic roads? Or will we take to the skies, creating a whole new three-dimensional world of traffic above our heads? Both futures are closer than you think, and both would completely change our world. The only question is, which one do you think we'll build?